Okay, it's running. This is the Dove Lady, and I'm going to begin reading another book. But first, I want to have a little discussion about something. Now, I take pictures of light. Take pictures with my digital camera of a reflection of light on a piece of glass. And I know it's more than just light refraction, like a lot of people say, because of what I'm getting pictures of. And the strangest, most colorful orbs I get pictures of by taking pictures this way, that I use a digital camera and a light that is the LED light. And I've been getting a certain pattern that keeps coming up that I call curved line balls. This is some of them. And they start out looking like a little bit like an X. I'll show you a few pictures of them. You see the little, well, that's a little bit dark. Let me get you something better. You can see it starting in this one. I have to move you around here until I get to, okay, there's one that's definitely looking like an X. It starts out and then it grows. It grows these circular things close together that are full of curved lines. And so I've come to call them the curved line balls. I'm trying to get to a particular one so you can see it better. See that you can see them there in this. And I know that it's something where this light seems to be organizing. I mean, I've gotten a lot of orbs with beautiful colors in them and beautiful designs, and all these, it has all these circles with a little concentric circles around them and all kinds of little tiny circles, and colors just mingled together. So it's fascinating. It's a light dimension that I think I've discovered, although that is debatable. See, there's some of the curved line balls in this one, right up here. There's the beginnings of some. Let me go back to the library and show you. Okay, this is the one I really wanted you to see, because you can see them. They're sort of like in a cocoon-looking orb. This is an orb they're in there. They just seem to be like hatching out of it. Although I don't think they hatch out. I just think I caught it looking like this. It's for some strange reason. They look so many different ways. But these little curved line balls keep showing up. And the beginnings of them. And sometimes orbs full of them. Like this one, these are curved line balls. But they have stretched and morphed, and I just wonder what it is that I'm looking at so much. And I've tried to get a hold of quantum physicists, but none of them respond. I know I don't sound all that much like I know what I'm talking about, because I'm no scientist. But I am getting these rare pictures of these balls that are full of curved lines. Now, I told you all that just to tell you this. I got a communication in my Google Drive about the curved line balls. And it was a message to me, and I know it was to me personally, because it spoke and I don't know who wrote it. It was just in a file. I'll let you look at it right here. I'll turn my camera over to it. It was in this file called The Power of Love, which I had never put any content in. I'd lost my inspiration to write anything about the power of love. But one day when I was cleaning up in my Google Drive, getting rid of things like that were just partial or something I wasn't going to do anything with, I found there was a message for me in this file, and it's just a short one. It's only just that long, you see. And I'll read it to you. And it made me think that maybe I did get the attention of someone, not a scientist, or maybe they are, but they're not in this dimension, because whoever wrote this must know my thoughts. I know that's possible. So I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to go on and read you something else. I want to say right away that I am willing to get into this only because you have expressed an interest in doing it. I have no agenda but love for you and for all of that which is created. I am not a being who has time for taking little trips of fantasy into other realms for the fun of it. I am serious, and I wish that to be known. I have little concern for those who believe not, nor for those who wish to start a new religion of me. I will shut down quickly if I see that occurring. So you see, right off, I thought, wow, some being wants to work with me. And then they got personal. They said, Grace, that's my name. You are a very good person, and you do not even know it yet. I see you judge yourself as though you were not any good, only maybe just a little bit good. I am telling you that we need more like you, and if we can accomplish this, all will be healed that is going wrong. I'm going to give you a letter of sorts in which you can address those scientists who would say that the orbs you take pictures of are nothing more than some kind of easily explained phenomena. And I thought, oh, wow. Now, this has been back last year, 2017, in July, that I got this message. And there's a little bit more to it, but I haven't heard any more since. I am going to ask them to consider how that you are able to see light in the process of bonding itself into the curved line balls. And that was like, nobody's ever mentioned to me anything about my curved line balls that I talk about all the time in some of my videos. What the curved line balls are is a process in which matter is being put together. It will manifest for you in due time. And I thought, wow, it will be all that you want it to be. And if you are not sure what you want it knows for you that you want something you have asked for many times. So you see, this has my attention, my apt attention. It is that which you asked for, that is both silver and gold and fruit. Nobody knew that I had something in mind like that. Whoever wrote this knew my heart's desire. So I kept on reading. It will be accomplished in time, and you will have it for evidence to use it for an example. It will be good to see, for you doubt a lot, and we want you to cease from doubting. I know that is hard to do, but with the help we will provide, you will be able to do it. To erase all doubt is always the hardest kind of thing for people to do. It requires one to deny what is and to relax and know and appreciate. It is just that for us to begin to give to you the words that you seem to want is not easy for us because we don't know what you want to understand. Okay, about time. It is a construct as you know it to be, and it is used by God, or all that is, as a way of playing out for those parts of himself all the dramas in which you are presented with themes to test and serve to grow you into a better person. It is going to be constructed a little differently from a point in time which is fast approaching. It will be no longer a long wait until what you believe to be true comes into existence. It is already working that way for many to a certain degree. It will increase, and you will walk in such a state of grace that you will find life to be so pleasant that you are not ever dissatisfied. So there you go. That was, to me, remarkable because while anyone listening to this might think I made that up, I didn't. I know I didn't. But I could understand how some people might think, well, she made all that up. because nobody really knows me that well, I wouldn't do a thing like that. I didn't make that up. And the thing that is silver and gold and fruit, well, what that is I used to just muse when I had time to just relax and think about some of the books I read, the Masters of the Far East, how they could bring things out of the ether. Any needed thing that they wanted, they could bring forth. It'd be it food or clothing or anything. And they could travel in the ethers, in the etheric. They could be where they wanted to be in a matter of minutes or seconds even. I don't know how long, but I've always thought, wow, if I could just bring something forth, I would bring forth a silver platter, and I would have it full of gold apples made of pure gold. So that was the silver and the gold and the fruit thing that we're talking about. But that was just a pipe dream. And it's one I didn't tell anybody. It's something I kept to myself because to me it was kind of silly to think that I could ever do that. And part of me thought, well, maybe it's possible, but not likely, And I haven't done it yet, so don't get excited here. But as days go by, I keep thinking, well, they also said they would give me a report of some sort that I could present to scientists. Because I'm always talking about these orbs, but I don't talk in a scientific way. And I know people think I sound stupid, like I don't know what I'm talking about. And I think, yeah, maybe I do sound that way, but these pictures, I have them. And a lot of people don't have pictures like this showing this kind of thing, this in light. And I can get these pictures any time of the day or night. I can get them. And not only do I get them with my camera, with the naked eye, I see things in light that are moving. Even it doesn't have to be the LED light. It can just be a lit up room. I can kind of squint my eyes a little bit and see little tube-looking things moving about, and colors and circles and all kinds of things. And then, of course, that's been described as, floaters. That's what floaters are. It's something natural, that's happening in your eye, your physical eye. But I know that maybe that there is something called floaters and that people see them, but I think the people that have a condition that they can't see well because of it. But I only see these when I want to. They don't come unbidden. And also, you wouldn't be able to film it and get pictures of what it is that looks like what you see with with the naked eye. If it was something in your eye, it wouldn't be in the camera's eye. So reason is that what I'm looking at is not floaters for sure. And it's not some easily explained phenomena like that message said. And so do I think I'm going to bring forth some silver and gold? Yeah, a part of me believes that maybe that could be possible. Even though that makes me sound like a really strange person, crazy. Now, I've been there. I'm 71 years old now. Back when I was in 1980s and early 90s, I did have trouble, and spiritual trouble, because I started talking to spirit, but I was dabbling, and I was not having the right intent. And I got a hold of spirit all right, but they were like voices in my head talking to me telepathically and driving me crazy. And they bothered me for a couple of years. And I thought at times I wanted to die. I wanted to take my life. I just wasn't any good for nothing. I listened to a video that I'm going to put in the description bar, and I want you to listen to it too. It's by Manly P. Hall, and he talks about how people get in trouble when they look into the sacred and into things that are real, but that you shouldn't dabble with. You should be a serious student of this, because if you dabble with it, it's powerful and you can get yourself in trouble. you can wind up going insane or you can wind up dying from it. And that happened to me, so I know. But I learned something. I learned something from it, and I'm out of that. It's no longer a thing that bothers me. And I'll just tell you this much about it. These voices were talking to me all the time. And I started thinking of them as demons and as something evil. And I wanted to be rid of them, but nothing would make them go away. I asked them all the time to go away, but they wouldn't. And I'm not a person who goes to church and believes in all that. But I even went to a church group and had them try to do this, what they call exorcise them out of me, but they didn't. They did their thing. They're calling them out, but they didn't come out. They were still there. And so I was kind of desperate. I was in lockup facilities a couple or three times, not for very long, but just for a little while. And it was a terrible time of my life. And thank goodness I had Bob. That was my boyfriend. I was just living with him at the time. We weren't married at that time. And he helped me get through all of this. And one day I found a book. And this book was by Joel Goldsmith. I think it was called Practicing the Presence or something like that. But he was talking about who God is. And he said, God is all that is. There isn't anything that is not God. God is oneness. We're all part of God. So whatever these things were that were talking to me, I figured must be a part of God. And I wanted to love all of God. I wanted to love them, but they were like hateful. And so I started thinking of them in terms of naughty children that just were misbehaving and ignorant. And I knew they knew my thoughts. So when I was thinking thoughts, they were talking to me and I was saying, I know something that you don't know. I've learned something about who I am and who you are. I said, you are a part of God. You don't know it. And I'm choosing not to hate you anymore. I'm choosing to love you. But I don't want you talking to me. But I'm not going to send you away to some horrible place, pits of hell or anything like that, like what they say in church. No. I'm going to read some good books that explain to me more and more about who God is and who I am. And it also will help you understand who you are, and you can listen in. You can keep doing what you're doing, like looking over my shoulder and reading my thoughts and looking at what I'm looking at. But you're not to talk. I was treating them like those naughty children that are, you can see, but I don't want to be hearing you. Well, guess what? They left me alone. They quit talking to me. After I told them that I loved them, and they knew I meant it because they knew my thoughts. They were that involved in how I thought, that they knew how I was thinking. And they left me alone and didn't talk to me anymore. And so I just kept reading good books, and I started coming out of all of that. It took a while, but I read a lot of really good books. I prayed to God, only I didn't think of God as the God of the Bible. The God of the Bible I did not like. The God of the Bible was a bloodthirsty, judgmental thing, especially in the Old Testament, always wanting to send people to kill other people, kill them all, men, women, children, the unborn, just kill everything that breathes, sacrifice everything. And I did not like that God. I couldn't. I had family and friends that believed in the Bible, but I don't really think they read much of the Old Testament, or they wouldn't like that kind of a judgmental God, but they always seemed to make excuses for him somehow. That he was just and we just didn't understand. But I understood that I could never love a God like that. So when I prayed to God, it wasn't that God. I called God all that is. So I would pray to all that is to lead me to the books that I could read that helped me understand things better, because I truly wanted to understand. I wasn't going to dabble anymore with spiritual things. I'm going to put a book, I don't know if I already said this, but by Manly P. Hall, talking about this very sort of thing about how not to dabble with spiritual things or you'll get yourself in trouble. And he explains it so well. So it will be in the description bar. So if you want to read that, I mean, not read it, listen to it, because it's a video you can listen to. I would encourage you to do it, because if you're going to get yourself involved in spiritual practices or understanding, trying to communicate, especially with spirit, you can't be a novice who just thinks they'll dabble in it or they don't have the right intention for doing it. Or you could get yourself in trouble like I got myself into, but luckily, and thank goodness, I got out of it. And so I don't want that to happen to anyone. So that's why I suggest you listen to that video. Now, I keep on waiting on the further communication because this has been several months since that message came to me. I'm going to put this on play. And it hasn't been any more. But just this morning, I was looking in my Google Drive. I looked at that same file again that this was in. Nothing more added to it. Nothing more, and I was hoping for something. But all at once, I did something in my Google Drive that made everything go real small. Oh, it made me so mad. I was so upset. Because the print was too tiny. Everything was so tiny. And when I started clicking around on this and that and everything, trying to get it to be big again. Look at me. And actually, I learned some things while being lost in Google Drive. I learned that I had some files I didn't know I had that were sent to me by someone. I don't even remember who. It's been many years ago. I've had these files for a long time and not really investigated them because some of the files were sent in such a way that the file itself had other files within it of books and things. So I found this one that is information that sounds like they're talking to quantum physicists in this, and they're talking to ordinary people. And they're giving the warnings, too, about how you do not want to dabble into this. You want to be a sincere student. So I'm saying only if you're sincere, listen to this book that I am now going to read, although I'm just going to begin it today. I'm going to move to my other screen. This is the file I found that I had all this time, didn't know I had it. And it talks in terminology like quantum physicists use today. And it's called Summun, S-U-M-M-U-N, Summun. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And let me make it a little bigger, and a little bigger, and a little bigger. Okay, acknowledgments. I think this may be a way that Spirit has given me the answers that I wanted, but not in the way I thought they would come, or maybe not. I don't know, except that this is meeting my need for right now, because it's answering a lot of questions, and I like to share what I read with others who are also searching for truth and who would like to know about creation, about God, who all that is. And this, I think, is going to be very interesting. I already have started reading on it, and I've read a little bit of it, not a lot, but enough to know that this is the next book that I want to start reading. And I'm going to say that you're either going to like it or you're not going to like it. Because if you don't like it, you're just not ready for it. And that's not a condemnation. this is something you have to be ready for. And otherwise, it's just words, 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 like they say in there, just words. And I've heard some of these principles before because I've read the Kabbalion. They talk about some of these Hermetic principles, only this seems to go a little before the Hermetic words. This seems to have come before that. This is out of Egypt. And there's a lot of chapters. The first one is the Summun philosophy, 7 Summun principles, the divine proportion, psychokinesis, Summun, the mental universe, the divine paradox, Summun in everything, the levels of correspondence, and then on and on. There's just a lot in there. So I'll read what I can before this. I'm at 25 minutes right now. This probably is going to just end. It always ends abruptly and never lets me know when it's about to. When the student's mind is open, then comes the voice to fill it with wisdom, Summun. This book is dedicated with gratitude to the Summun individuals, or Summa individuals, who untiringly work the pathways of spiritual evolution, and who with great concern have presented to me these principles. These teachings cannot be accredited to any one person or human source, for these teachings represent the workings of creation itself. These principles have been presented previously to those souls evolved enough to understand them, and again, the nature of creation is presented to those now ready. The purpose of this work is to allow those searching for a comprehension of creation to receive the keys to that understanding, to use these keys to unlock the many facets and to reconcile the many bits of knowledge they may have acquired, but which have not satisfied their understanding of the whole. Those advanced on the path will find this book to be a master key which may open the many esoteric doors to creation. These teachings are not occult. These concepts have always existed, and as an eternal work are presented by advanced Summa individuals to those searching for the source of creation. The Summa individuals come attired in nothing but their naked, innocent form, with words most appropriate for every age in which they bring the teachings. Recorded history is replete with masters: Adam, Moses, Krishna, Buddha, Christ, and Mohammed, having been taught by the angelic beings. Even today, the Summa individuals continue to present the principles. The basic knowledge of these principles forms the esoteric teachings of every race and religion. Even the most ancient teachings of India and Egypt have their roots in these principles.